Healing work has taught me that to appreciate more, that we are all not wired the same. And in that appreciation for understanding that we are all not wired the same, when you do the actual shadow work, right, that healing work on yourself, and it puts you on a road to self-discovery, you begin to become less triggered and you take less things personally. And in my healing journey, let me just share one of the insights, and this may not be true for you, and you might be able to relate and discover as well through what I'm about to share. I wanted to understand better why I was introverted. Even when people who don't really know me that well, don't know that I'm very introverted. Even if I can appear on the surface to adapt very well and display extroverted characteristics. Now, I broke it down into 3 things. 1, my interests. Okay, what I enjoy, what I like. The other was pleasure. How those interests or whatever, or desires or goals, once achieved, made me feel. Okay? So those two kind of go hand in hand. And when I say pleasure, the things that would please me would be learning and creating. Or just some kind of tinkering, okay? Now, the third, when I got into it, was dark. And here comes the shadow part. The shadow revealed to me that I spent a lot of time alone and would not really talk and water my relationships as much, because it had a lot to do with the push and pull and the communication of the need of space from others. And when I grew exhausted with trying to figure out, did people want me around? Not want me around. Did people want to talk to me? Not want to talk to me. And then, and this is from childhood to adulthood, and because I really didn't understand it well and was so heavily triggered and traumatized when people weren't clear in their communication, if the delivery was poor and contained bad or negative language, if the person didn't communicate directly but pulled away from me and I either felt humiliated or awkward about it or rejected, it hurt. And then I grew exhausted with it and threw it away and was like, never mind. And that's how I ended up enjoying a much smaller group of people to be around and not being exhausted by trying to figure out what lots of people needed. Because I discovered that I was overstimulated and it was chaotic for me to process the needs of so many different people. Okay, so I was experiencing an overload, but nobody could tell me what that was. But through healing work recently, I just started realizing in my healing journey, well, this is not my first rodeo with healing, but the most recent healing journey that I'm on has taught me an incredible amount of information about myself. And some I do come on and share, like other things. But this I felt was a very important one to come on and share. When you do the healing work, it is so powerfully beneficial. Because now that I better understand myself, I can better understand those around me, appreciate them more, and communicate with them better. Because communication broke down along the way because there was work I wasn't really willing to do on myself. But that doesn't mean I don't model for others what that work should look like. But because I'm going to improve or have improved in communication, then others can feel free to do the same. But that does not mean that we are responsible for trying to change or take responsibility for the work others must do. Okay, they have 4:44 on the timer as I'm saying that. They have to be willing to do the work for themselves, okay? That's how this works. It doesn't work any other way. But I wanted to come on and share that, not understanding Did a person want me around? Am I too smothering? You know, it got to a point I didn't want to deal with it. And I gravitated to what felt good and would not allow myself to feel the bad feels. So when the bad feels still found me, it rocked me. But now I know how to navigate it. And that doesn't mean that people who were poor in their delivery about needing space, marking territory, and so on, if they did it poorly, I'm not excusing the poor behavior, and you shouldn't either. And let me just say, if somebody repeatedly abused you in that sense and did not consider your feelings, okay, or consider how their behavior would impact your mental health or physical health, whatever it may be, okay, that means that will affect your safety and security with that person, and that is not to be dismissed. So I hope this helps anyone who is on their journey, especially if you are trying to remain sane on the journey as you enjoy this thing called life, because all of your health is very important, but most importantly, your mental health, okay? Without this thing, baby, you're in trouble.